So hello students, welcome to the third lecture for your subject hydraulics. As we have already studied in the previous lecture about the viscosity, surface tension, the various formulas for pressure inside a jet, bubble and a droplet. In today's lecture we will study about the capillarity, types of fluids, what are the various parameters and instruments which are used for measuring the pressure inside and outside the pipe or in the open channel flow. So let's start. So first of all, capillarity. What is capillarity? Capillarity is basically the rise or fall of liquid surface in the capillarity tube with respect to the liquid level, which is known as capillarity. So capillarity is that property which is exhibited by the roots of the plants or the trees to take the water from the soil towards the leaves and the branches of the trees or the plant. So it is due to both cohesion and adhesive forces. So as we have already studied in the last lecture that there are two forces which are acting. One is cohesive, another one is adhesive. So capillarity can be both due to the cohesive and adhesive nature. Capillarity action can be seen in an experiment when we dip one end of the towel into water and after some time whole of the towel gets wetted. So it is action of capillarity in which the water flows in against the gravity. Okay, so there is a formula for knowing the rise and fall of liquid surface, or we can say that it is capillarity. So it is H equals to 4 sigma cos theta whole upon rho GD, where small d is the dia of the capillarity tube. So this is the figure here. So this is the tube having a dia d, and here is the h. H is the height from the surface of water to the rise of water, and theta is the angle of contact. This is the angle of contact in this case. This is theta. Okay, so we can easily calculate capillarity from this equation or relation, which is H equals to 4 sigma cos theta whole upon rho GD. Okay, so there are different cases when we take water in the container, when we take mercury in the container, and we take an ordinary fluid. So what is theta in case of Hg? Hg represents mercury. So theta in the case of mercury is around 128 degree to 130 degree. Okay, it is approx 130 degree. Theta in the case of pure water, it is 0, and theta in the case of ordinary fluid other than water, it is around 28 degree. So these are some values which will be helpful for you for solving the numericals. So when there is a fall like this, in first case it is a rise. As you can see that the water is rising from its level to the certain height h, and it is showing a rise. But in case of some fluid there is a fall. You can see that water level is this, and the water inside the capillarity tube is downwards. This is showing, and theta is the angle of contact. So this is the case of fall. So you can see it from the equation or the definition itself that it is a rise and fall of capillary tube. So there is a basic difference between capillary rise and capillary fall. So in case of capillary rise, the shape of water in the tube is concave. Okay, concave in case of mercury, concave upwards in case of mercury, Hg. When there is a capillary fall, the shape is convex upwards in case of mercury. So these two cases are for mercury. Mercury shows concave as well as convex shape. It is due to, when there is a capillary rise in case of mercury, it is due to the adhesive force which is dominating the cohesive force. Adhesive means when two different particles or materials are there. So in case of two particles or two matter which is present is, one is mercury, another one is the glass tube. But in case of capillary fall, here cohesive force dominates the adhesive force. So it is vice versa in both the cases. In capillary rise, the adhesive force is dominating to the cohesive force, whereas in case of capillary fall, the cohesive force is dominating the adhesive force. So it is the basic difference. Now we further move to the types of fluids. So there are different types of fluids, but some of them are listed below, which will be useful for you in a better understanding of hydraulics. So first one is the idle fluid. As the name suggests itself, that the fluids which are incompressible and having zero viscosity, it is known as idle fluid. Okay, but as you know that no such fluid exists till now in practical. So it is also mentioned that in practical such fluid does not exist. So it is a imaginary type of fluid which is incompressible and having zero viscosity. Okay. Second one is the real fluid. Real fluid are generally the types of fluid which we are facing in day-to-day life. So real fluids are which are having some viscosity, it is known as real fluid. So almost all the fluids have some viscosity, so they all come under a real fluid. Third one is the Newtonian fluid. So there is a word here, Newton. So you have already studied about the Newton law of viscosity. So its formula is given here again. So fluid which follows Newton law of viscosity. So what is Newton law of viscosity? It is directly proportional to the velocity gradient. So this is the velocity gradient. So tau is directly proportional to del u upon del y. So that fluid which obeys this equation or which satisfies this equation is known as Newtonian fluid. Fourth one is the non-Newtonian fluid. Non-Newtonian fluid is the fluids which does not obey or follow Newton law of viscosity. Means tau directly proportional to del u upon del y is not followed by this type of liquids or fluids. Okay, some of their are listed here. So first one is the dilatant type. So dilatant is, example is like butter, honey and quicksand. Okay, so these are generally not flowing in nature, but when they have very less viscosity. Okay, or you can say that they have very less tendency to flow. So this is an equation for Newtonian fluid, and further it is simplified like this. So tau equal to A du upon dy to the power n plus b. So here are relation for n and b, values given for n and b. So for dilatant fluid like butter, honey and quicksand, n is greater than 1 and b is equal to 0. So you can easily put these values here in this equation number 1 and you can find out the tau value. Okay. Second one is the pseudoplastic fluids. So here n value is less than 1 and b is equal to 0. So pseudoplastic means like the blood which is circulating in our body, lipstick, milk and paint. So these all come under the pseudoplastic. Okay, pseudo means, and plastic means it is plastic, it is thickened but it flows in nature. Third one is the Bingham plastic. Bingham plastic is where n is equal to 1 and b is not equal to 0. Example, sewage sludge, the fluid which is flowing in the sewage line or sludge, it is very viscous in nature. And drilling mud, the mud which is extracted while drilling. Third one is the toothpaste and gel. So these come under Bingham plastic. Fourth one is the rheophatic fluid. Here n is greater than 1, b is not equal to 0. So rheophatic fluids are gypsum, solution in water. Gypsum you all know, you must have studied in building material and construction, or the cement paste, okay, which is very viscous in nature. And last one is the thixotropic fluid. Here n is less than 1, b is not equal to 0. So examples are the printer ink, the ink which is present in the printers, it is known as thixotropic fluid. Okay. So for this is all for non-Newtonian fluid. For Newtonian fluid, n is equal to 1 and b is equal to 0. So when you put all these values for different type of fluids in this equation number 1, you will get an equation for that particular fluid. Okay, so there is a graph or graphical representation of all the types of fluid in a single figure. So x-axis shows the velocity gradient and y-axis shows the shear stress. So you can see here thixotropic fluid is present, Bingham plastic, rheophatic, pseudoplastic like blood, Newtonian fluid which obeys Newton law, dilating fluid, and ideal fluid. Ideal fluid is generally not practically available. So this is a representation of the types of fluid according to the Newtonian and non-Newtonian category. Okay, so there is a small note given here that the study of non-Newtonian fluid is known as rheology. So if someone asks you that what is rheology in terms of fluid mechanics or hydraulics, you can easily say that the study of non-Newtonian fluid is known as rheology. Okay, so now we further move to the second part of today's lecture, that is pressure and its measurement. So it is very important to measure pressure in fluid mechanics or hydraulics, because when the fluid or the water is flowing inside a conduit or a pipe, so there will be some pressure there, so we have to measure it. But before measuring it, we have to classify those type of pressure, that in which category does it lie. So types of pressure, there is first is absolute pressure, second one is gauge pressure, third one is vacuum pressure. Okay, so here there is a graphical representation for the types of pressure, okay, in terms of atmospheric pressure and gauge pressure. PATM means pressure present in the atmosphere which is generally same at a certain sea level. If you change the sea level, then the PATM will change. And P gauge is the pressure which is measured by some instrument or gauge. Okay, so these are the two ranges here, and all the P absolute is given here, P vacuum is given here, so you can easily find out the here from here. And this is the absolute zero pressure line, so it is like a gradient or reference for taking the pressure. So you can see here that P absolute is the most which is changing, most attained height. PATM is little less than this. P gauge is the above the atmospheric pressure line, it starts from the atmospheric pressure line. And P vacuum, as you can see that the pressure in vacuum is little down. Okay, so we will study in detail. So what is an absolute pressure? So absolute pressure is the pressure which is measured with respect to the absolute zero. So here the reference point or the reference value is absolute zero. So when we measure some pressure from taking the reference of absolute zero, it is known as absolute pressure. Okay, second one is the gauge pressure. Gauge pressure is measured above the atmospheric pressure line, it is known as gauge pressure. So it is also known as positive pressure because it is moving upwards, it is not going downward. And third one is the vacuum pressure. Vacuum pressure is the pressure which is measured below the atmospheric pressure line. Okay, gauge pressure is measured above and vacuum pressure is measured below the absolute pressure line or atmospheric pressure line. It is known as vacuum pressure, and in some terms it is also known as negative pressure. Okay, so gauge pressure is positive and vacuum pressure is negative. So here are some formulas or relationship between these three types of pressure. So when we take P absolute is equal to PATM plus P gauge. So P absolute is the sum of pressure of at atmosphere and pressure at gauge. Okay, second one is the P vacuum. P vacuum is the difference in PATM and PABS. PABS means P absolute. And third one is the pressure in gauge, P gauge. It is the difference between PABS and PATM. PABS is the absolute pressure and PATM is the atmospheric pressure. Okay, so these are the some formulas or relationship. Now we further move to the certain law. So there is a law which is known as Pascal law. So it states that for any static fluid, the pressure intensity is same at any point in all directions. This means when a fluid is in rest, the pressure intensity at a point is same in all directions. Okay, like this is a particle of fluid, and so the pressure intensity will be same in all direction. Okay, so there is a relationship here that Px is equal to Py plus Pz, means in x direction in y direction and in z direction all the pressure is same when fluid is in static or in rest. Second one is the hydrostatic pressure. Hydrostatic pressure or hydrostatic law, you can say that. So it is that rate of increase of pressure in vertical direction is equal to weight density of fluid. Okay, so as we have already told you that it is a rate of increase. So rate of increase is in terms of some x coordinate. So delta p by delta x, it is the rate of increase of pressure. It is equal to weight density of fluid. So weight density means rho into g. So it is weight density. So the rate of increase of pressure is equal to the weight density of fluid. So now further solving it, delta p is equal to rho g into dx. So by integrating to its limits on both the sides, so in case of left hand side, delta p ranges from 0 to p. From initially its value will be 0 and it can maximum go to p, and in case of x it can go to 0 to h, maximum height h. So by solving it we get p is equal to rho g h. So it is the value of pressure. So you can easily calculate pressure in a static fluid. It can be calculated by P equal to rho g h. Now there are some instruments which are used for measuring this pressure. So one of the instrument is manometer. So manometer is generally it is used to determine pressure like gauge pressure and vacuum pressure. So there are different categories of this manometer. First is simple manometer. Simple manometer is used to determine the pressure at a point. So if you want to measure a pressure at a certain point, you can find out by simple manometer. Second one is the differential manometer. Differential manometer is used to determine pressure difference between 2 points. So differential manometer word itself is defining it is different or difference. So differential manometer is used to find pressure between 2 different points. Now third one is the piezometer. Piezometer is generally used to find pressure or rise of liquid. So piezometer is used to measure small and positive gauge pressure. So it is generally installed in some fluid mechanics lab to find out the rise in head of water. So you can easily find the discharge or velocity using this piezometer also. And next one is the U-tube manometer. U-tube is the shape defining itself. It is like alphabet U. So it is used to measure small and large positive and negative pressure. So U-tube manometer can find out or measure a large range of pressure including positive and negative pressure. Means it can find out gauge pressure as well as the vacuum pressure. Okay, so that's all for today. Now we will meet for the next lecture. Thank you so much.